G'day guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about a recent purchase that I made, which is the new range of DCDC chargers from Redarc. So overall I am very happy with it, but the product does not do what I think it was advertised to do, which is kind of annoying me. So let's get into it. I'm not here to bash Redarc. Obviously the previous product that I had was the BMS30 from Redarc. The product that I've bought now is again from Redarc. Would I buy it again? I would. But I am annoyed at one small detail that is a little bit misleading perhaps, or somewhat confusing for people, so I'm going to be talking about it. And the fact is the Alpha 50R DCDC charger does not work with the Redvision display on its own. It has to be paired with a TVMS Rogue or some other part of the R-Bar system. I'll go into that in a bit more details, but firstly, the reason that I wanted to change and a few of the positives about the new system. So if you are unaware, Redarc have the BCDC range. These are DCDC chargers. They also have the Manager range, which is a DCDC charger, but it also accepts AC charging or shore power. And it plays with the TVMS Rogue system, which is it's a bunch of little relays that you can use for switching. You can use it all off your phone or with the Redvision display. It offers a lot of functionality, but for me, not what I want, not what I need. And I wasn't really interested in having that. And saying that, my original charging setup was actually the BMS30, which was all that they had available at the time. This Alpha range did not exist. And I thought that I would use AC charging more. It turns out not once did I use it. I think the initial charge of my battery, I used it. And ever since then, it was either charged up from the DCDC or the solar. So I had the BMS30. It wasn't physically in the way of anything because it was behind the fridge, but I wanted to make some changes in general to my battery and all this other stuff. When I saw that Redarc were advertising a new product that worked, a DCDC charger with a smaller footprint that worked with the Redvision, then I was pretty much sold already, but there's a number of other factors involved in why I chose to upgrade. So firstly, I wanted to change my battery layout. The Energive battery I had was taking up too much floor space. There is another battery that I have now from Allsparks. I won't go into it too much in this video, but it is the same weight as what I had, but it's 150 amp hour. So I've got 25 extra amp hours than I had before, and it fits in between the fridge and the front of the canopy. So I've freed up a lot of space. Because I was making all these changes, I also had to cut the headboard a little bit because of the height of the battery. So I wanted to get rid of the BMS anyway, and just clear up that whole side behind the fridge and kind of get rid of that side of the headboard. The DCDC charger allowed me to do this due to its much smaller footprint, but also now that I had a larger capacity battery, only slightly, but the chance to go up from 30 amp hours maximum input from a drive to potentially up to 50 amp hours with the Alpha R range. On top of that, if you already have cables run in that are only capable of a certain charge from your battery, for example, you can limit the current. So you can limit it to 30. If you don't want to rerun cables from the front, you're happy with 30, you can limit it to 30. I've actually set mine at 40, so I've increased it by 10. I did run 4 gauge at the start, so I can actually go 50, but 40 amp hours is plenty for me. It means less work on the alternator, for example. So on top of all those benefits, the footprint being one of the main ones and the weight, as well as the faster charging, the main reason I wanted it was because it has now, which it never used to, it will charge back to your starter battery. So any excess solar that you have while you're sitting in camp or whatever, if your house battery is full, your lithium, it will start feeding power back to your starter battery. On top of this, if your starter battery is flat, you can do a start battery recovery, which is supposed to be healthier for the battery than jumping it. It'll charge back from the lithium for 15 minutes, it'll charge your starter battery. Now, this was important to me because I have an automatic. You can't hill start it. So being stuck with a battery, that starter battery that won't start, is probably one of the biggest hindrances for an automatic. This allowed me to finally have a back charge from the lithium to the starter battery, as well as topping up the starter battery with excess solar when I'm not using it. That to me is a reliability thing and a peace of mind thing. It allowed me to get rid of that big jump pack that I had in the back. And then on top of that, we got the faster charging of the lithium, the smaller footprint. It weighs about 3 kilos less than the big battery management system I had before, so there's less weight on the headboard, and as far as I was aware, it would work with my existing Redvision display. So we'll just have a look at the battery management system now. This is it up here, all tucked away. You can see how handy that is. Once I torque these bolts down, I don't have to access them again after it's all wired in. We've got the battery shunt, same as we did with the battery management system 30. This is all part of it working to give you the information about what is incoming from solar, what is your load, what is your charge, and it's able to separate all that information to give you everything you need in the app or in the Redvision display. So you can see how small it is and how small a footprint it is. I've made other changes there, like bringing the cables to the front and the ducting. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with that. I actually prefer them behind the headboard just for protection reasons, but it is technically easier to access if you want to make changes when they are on the front and the ducting. I do find the ducting quite annoying. Now this little thing up here, this is an R-bus wiring adapter as it is labelled in the instructions. This is what gives us communications through data cables, Cat5e cables, with the shunt, and then again through other Redvision accessories, as we see in the diagram here. There are two new products, or two new ranges. You've got the DCDC Standard, and you've got the DCDC R, which supposedly works with Redvision. I went for the Redvision one because I already had the Redvision display, and it was one of my favourite things about the canopy, the setup. I loved having that information there over where I charge all my stuff, just being able to look at it whenever I wanted. So I didn't just jump in and buy this thing. I legitimately, as far as I was aware, thought it would work with my existing setup, and it does. It does everything I want it to do, except for it doesn't work with the Redvision display. So why did I think it would? Well, let's have a look at the website.
So if we start on the product page, you'll see a bit further down there are 3 different variants, 2 non-R and 1 R. Now obviously I've gone with the R version, which comes with the battery shunt. It's an extra $600. The Alpha 50R adds Redvision connectivity and a smart battery monitor, as well as seamless integration with Redvision and TVMS products. Further on down they have a video which is handy in comparing the R and non-R variants. I'm not going to play all of it, but I will fast forward through a lot of it, but play the part that I think is the most relevant. It's worth a watch if you want to know the difference yourself.
Now let's compare.
I do find the product display on the bottom right interesting, which we'll come back to later.
Additionally, the built-in R-bus connection allows seamless integration with the Redvision screen and TVMS products. No matter what your adventure, there's a BCDC Alpha built to keep you going.
And further on, just below, we have a little tick chart with a big green tick for the Alpha R and Redvision integration.
So as you can see, it talks about Redvision integration. It has a part or component that says it is the R-bus wiring adapter, which is this thing up here. And that supposedly goes off to a Redvision device. We have a battery shunt setup, exactly like we did with the BMS 30. Now that setup on the bench when he's talking about the differences between the two products, that's not it is misleading, but not intentionally so, I would say, because they never claim at that point that this package of things over here will work together, although it does kind of suggest that, I think. So I would say the imagery of that is quite misleading, but then the bit that really gets me in the video is when he says this.
Additionally, the built-in R-bus connection allows seamless integration with the Redvision screen and TVMS products. Seamless integration with the Redvision screen and TVMS products.
Except it doesn't. So that bit, genuinely, I think is misleading. Unless I'm mistaken, but I called up to try and suss out why my screen didn't come on, and I was told over the phone by the people who are very helpful that you have to have an R-bus component to work with the Redvision display. But then in my mind, what's the point of this R-bus wiring adapter? Isn't that what that's for? Why do we still have the shunt? It is capable of reading all this information, as is proven by the fact that you can go on the app and look at this information that is the exact same, although more limited in the app, but the same general information that you would get from the Redvision display. So I have a number of questions or queries. The first one being, perhaps you should word the video a little bit better. The second one, forgetting about all that, it's a mistake, marketing, whatever, but why doesn't it work? Why would you design this wiring bus, this R-bus adapter, which it's called, which is confusing because apparently it doesn't give you the R-bus system integration like I thought it would.
Built-in R-bus connection, built-in R-bus connection.
Why design this new product? And I still think that they can fix this, hopefully with firmware or something, because I can't see any reason why it wouldn't work with the Redvision display. You've gone through the hassle of selling this product with the shunt and this harness adapter, which should, in my mind, make it compatible. I don't know. It just seems stupid, but also, if it was deliberate and not a mistake, then it seems like a missed opportunity. And yeah, hopefully they can fix it. The app does give you the information, although I hate the app, but if I really need it, it's there. I guess that's kind of one way of looking at it. So I still think I would have bought the Alpha R version over the general BCDC that doesn't communicate with the shunt. But yeah, it would have been nice to know that it didn't work with the Redvision display. But more importantly, why doesn't it? I can't see the reason why it doesn't, because you have this wiring harness adapter that is supposed to make it compatible, and it just seems like an oversight, if anything, but it is what it is at the moment. I have a hole in my headboard where hopefully I can refit a Redvision display one day, but at the moment it's just a hole because there's no point having the display there doing nothing for now. So you might not see what the hassle is because you think, oh, you can just go on the app. But the thing is, the app does not have the same functionality as the Redvision display did, but more to that is I don't actually want my phone on me. So now when I want to know, I have to go get my phone, then I have to unlock it, go to the app, open the app. I've timed it about 7 to 8 seconds before I actually get the information from the app that I want, and it's just a pain in the ass. On top of that, the app is different on your phone than what you get on a tablet. There is less functionality. The tablet version is more similar to what you'd actually get on the Redvision display, and there are parts of the app I really don't like. So we'll just have a look at them now.
So this is me loading the phone app, and in real time we'll just wait for it to load. This one took longer than what I previously claimed at about 7 to 8 seconds. And finally the information pops in. It's about 13 seconds for the final bits of information to populate their little parts. So this is the phone app. It is quite limited. I find the display of voltage absolutely useless, and you are unable to change the touring mode. If you want to do that, you need the tablet app. Now we change to the tablet app. This is in the classic UI to match the phone app. In here we get the same display, the same layout, the same functionality. So that was about 12 seconds for this last bit of information to pop up. But the good thing about the tablet app is that there is a different user interface that you can use, and you can also rotate the tablet to get it into landscape mode. So we change to the new user interface down the bottom here in the settings, and we get some more functionality. Again, I'll just let this load. So the first bits of information will pop up. It is about 10 seconds. The last little bit of information is another 7 seconds behind that. At 17 seconds, we get our state of charge history. However, this app with the new user interface on the tablet only, you do have this tab here, Power. On top of that, if we go to the settings, we can change our operating mode from storage to touring mode. And the main appeal of the tablet app, however, is actually that one setting, which is the Power tab. And here you can see you can change between classic UI and new UI. In the Power tab, we have the old voltage readings, which to me is useless. I don't really care about the solar voltage and the alternator voltage, but underneath that we actually have power as well as the power for the load, which is a lot more handy.
So this is where the display used to be, and this is, to be honest, where I want it, because this is where the inverter is, this is where my charging is, and in here is where I charge all my camera gear, my drones. I plug in a cable here that runs across the other side for doing the laptop and things on the other side on that table, and when I'm here is when I want to assess the power draw and the power load, and to do that used to be pressing a button, instant information. And the only time I want to know, really, is when I'm playing around with stuff, plugging stuff in, like setting up Starlink, and I think, oh, I want to see how much power that draws. Press the button, I get to see it all here. I don't have to have my phone on me all the time. I can just press it when I need it, have the information. I can actually get up from the chair on the other side of camp and get up and walk around to here quicker than I can get on my phone and open the app to have a look at stuff. I don't like the app. I'm glad it's there for those that do. It's not for me. And the tablet app is better, but I'm not going to carry a tablet around for the sole purpose of just connecting to Redvision in camp. I want my information here, where the rest of my power and charging stuff is, when I plug new devices in, new laptops, drones, Starlink, whenever I have anything or a combination of lots of things, I can see how much power I'm actually drawing with that combination of things. That's the kind of information I like. So yeah, sorry, not a fan of the app. It's good that they have it, but I personally don't rate the app. I want my display to work with the R-Bus. It's called R-Bus wiring adapter. It's called an R-Bus harness. We have the shunt. Let's just make it work. So there you go. I'm not trying to bash Redarc. Redarc are one of my preferred companies to purchase just because they're high quality, but also I feel like they innovate and they actually create new things. They don't just copy other people and come in at a lower price and just never have good ideas. They have new products that are top of the line, but also innovative. So I do like to go with Redarc when they have something new that suits me. And in this case, it really did suit me because of the fact that I can start battery recover and I can also send excess solar to the starter battery. I don't like the app. I don't see the point in knowing, for example, what voltage is being input from the car as well as what voltage is input from the solar panel. Amp hours, the battery capacity is in amp hours. I would prefer to know after the conversion of the voltage from the solar panel what amp hours are being input from the solar compared to the alternator, or even watt hours would be more useful because I know the watt hour capacity of the battery as well, so that would be more useful. The voltage I think is useless. I can't change from storage to touring mode and vice versa. I don't like the delay. I don't like having to have my phone or go find my phone to use it, but there are so many good things about it. The weight of it, the excess solar feedback, the start battery recovery, the fact that I can choose my currents from the start battery as well as to the lithium. It just means you can protect yourself if you have certain cable sizes already installed and you don't want to run a new one. You can slowly upgrade, you can play with it to see what suits you best, or you can put less stress on your alternator. Perhaps your alternator is not a high output and you are limited in what you can do. All that functionality is awesome. I would buy the product again. Even knowing what I know now, I'd still buy it, but I am hoping they can fix it because to me it seems like an oversight or a mistake. It just seems weird. Why? Original purchase was the battery, and these are the main features. What is incoming? So the Redvision now, as I said, they have high quality as far as battery